The evening light lingers across Denmark's tranquil shores. Soft bands of pale gold and silver shimmer over the water. The air carries a faint, briny sweetness, and you feel the hush of the waves as if they hold a secret you'll only uncover once you've given yourself over to the night. Before we begin, find a place where you can rest. Let your body sink into comfort. Tonight I'll take you on a quiet journey to a place where only peace waits for you. Put on your headphones if you can, and stay with me until the very end, as each word will guide you deeper into the night. And so here on the coast of Denmark, the air is cool but gentle, like a soft linen sheet brushing against your skin. A quiet rhythm of water slides over sand and small stones. A rhythm you'll return to again and again, each time with a new meaning. You don't yet know what waits beyond the horizon, but you sense it will be something soothing, something that brings your mind into stillness. Nightfall Travels begins here, carrying you into a world where the sea and the sky blend in a single calm breath. The shoreline is wide and uncluttered, damp sand smooth beneath your feet, faintly imprinted by earlier footsteps that the tide is already erasing. You walk slowly, almost without weight, and each step settles you further into rest. Above, the sky opens in pale blues fading to lavender, a northern evening in its softest form. The light is never abrupt here. It stretches, it lingers, it invites. You notice how the sound of the waves is steady but layered, a hush, a sigh, and then a retreat, carrying with it tiny shells and strands of seaweed that glisten like threads of jade. This sound, this recurring motif, follows you with every breath. You pause for a moment, inhaling deeply. The air tastes faintly of salt with a trace of sea fennel, that wild coastal herb that grows along the dunes. It is a clean taste, both refreshing and grounding, as if the shore itself has a way of settling your thoughts. You exhale slowly, letting tension drift out of your shoulders. The rhythm of the waves meets the rhythm of your breath, and the two begin to merge, a slow tide within you. Ebbing, flowing, easing. There is an old Danish word, hygge, a kind of comfort, belonging, and warmth that doesn't rely on grand gestures, but on small, tender details. A candle flickering at dusk, a blanket around your shoulders, a friend's voice in a quiet room. Here by the Baltic coast, you feel a different form of hygge. Not in firelight or indoor shelter, but in the openness of air, in the calm expanse of water, in the way solitude becomes gentle instead of lonely. It is as though the sea itself welcomes you into its vast embrace. You wander a little farther, hearing how the sand changes underfoot. Near the waterline, it is firm and cool, compacted by the tide. Higher up, it loosens grains, slipping softly around your feet, giving way like a cushion. You move slowly, savoring the texture, allowing it to root you here. Every few steps, a gull calls distantly, its voice stretching thin in the spacious sky, then vanishing into silence. And always beneath it, the hush of waves, the motif that will follow you deeper through the journey. In the distance, you see low dunes covered with grasses that sway lightly in the breeze. Their color is muted, a mix of pale green and straw gold, bending and rising as if the earth itself is breathing. You decide to climb one gently, your feet pressing into the sandy slope, the grass brushing against your legs. When you reach the top, the horizon widens even more. You see the Baltic Sea stretching outward, calm and silvery in the fading light, a mirror for the quiet sky. You sit for a moment among the grasses. The scent here is mixed, the clean salt of the sea, the faint sweetness of dried reeds, and the earthy depth of sand still holding the warmth of the day. Closing your eyes, you feel how these layers weave together. Not one overwhelms, not one insists. They combine into a balance that feels timeless. You recall how in childhood, lying on a small town porch at dusk, the world slowed in much the same way. The air, thick with summer scents, the steady hum of crickets in the dark. The memory drifts through you like a soft echo, blending this northern coast with a familiar American rhythm of evening. In both places, time lengthens and rest becomes natural. The Danish coast has long been shaped by the sea. Stories tell of fishermen who once set out in wooden boats, guided only by stars and instinct, listening to the waves for signs of change. Their families would wait on these shores, watching the horizon with a patient faith, knowing the sea's generosity and its unpredictability. Tonight, you are not waiting for anyone to return, and the sea is not demanding anything of you. It only offers its rhythm, its steady voice, and you are free to listen as long as you wish. You breathe again, slow and even, letting your body soften into its own tide. Your shoulders grow heavy, your hands rest easily, your face smooths of all effort. The hush of the waves is both outside and within a motif that grows gentler each time you notice it. As you open your eyes, the first stars begin to appear, faint and small against the indigo deepening above. They are not hurried. They arrive one by one like lanterns lit quietly in the distance. The sea reflects them, tiny sparks drifting on its surface. You know the night will unfold at this patient pace, and you are invited to drift with it. Somewhere nearby, a wooden pier extends into the water, narrow and simple, weathered by many seasons. You feel drawn toward it, the soft wood creaking lightly beneath your steps. Walking its length, you hear the difference in sound, water slapping against posts, echoing gently like a heartbeat beneath the planks. You reach the end, and here the sea surrounds you on three sides. The rhythm of waves becomes a cradle, rocking you into stillness. The air cools slightly, but you are not chilled. Instead, the freshness wraps around you like a shawl, light and protective. You draw another deep breath, savoring the sea's gentle taste on your lips. Ahead in the distance, faint lights glow along the coast, perhaps a small village where windows shine softly against the dark. Their presence is comforting, like candles in the night, a reminder that warmth and welcome are never far away. You will journey toward those lights soon, but for now, you remain at the pier, listening to the waves, letting their hush settle more deeply into you. The motif of the sea's rhythm stays with you, steady as your heartbeat, ready to guide you further inland and further into rest. And as the night deepens, you take one last slow breath here at the water's edge, then turn gently toward the faint path that will lead you to the village where the story continues and where more quiet wonders wait. The path away from the pier is faint, traced only by the softness of footsteps over years. It winds gently across the sand, climbing toward the first signs of the village. And always behind you, the hush of waves continues, quieter now, like a memory following at a respectful distance. The rhythm still finds you sinking with your own breath as you walk. The sand gives way to cobblestones, rounded and time-worn, their surface smooth beneath your shoes. Each stone holds a coolness from the evening air, but between them, the earth rises warm, carrying the heat of the sun that lingered through the long northern day. You notice how the light has shifted. The sky has moved from lavender to a deepening blue, and lanterns along the village street begin to glow, not bright, never harsh, but soft amber, as though each one is lit to guide you without rush. The village greets you with a hush as gentle as the sea itself. Wooden houses stand in quiet rows, their walls painted in pale shades of yellow, white, and faded red. Roofs slope steeply, tiled with clay that has weathered through many winters. Window frames gleam faintly, some open to the breeze where lace curtains stir just slightly. You imagine the warmth behind them. Families gathered with candles, glowing, the scent of supper drifting through. As you pause by a small bakery, you notice the door left slightly ajar. From within comes the unmistakable aroma of fresh bread. Not the sharpness of new loaves, but the round, mellow scent of rye, seeded and deep. There is sweetness too, like cinnamon, faint but present, clinging to the air just outside. You inhale softly, feeling how the scent mixes with the salt of the sea, still clinging to your skin. It settles in you like nourishment before sleep, both grounding and comforting. You continue through the lane, your footsteps soft on the cobbles. Somewhere a cat slips between shadows, its body smooth and silent tail brushing a wooden fence. The rhythm of the sea is farther now, but still present, a muted hush beneath the sounds of the village, as if the two belong together. It is the motif that binds sea and the land, outside and within. A small square opens before you, no larger than a clearing. At its center, a fountain trickles with quiet persistence, water flowing over stone, adding its voice to the evening calm. Around the square stand oak benches, their wood polished by countless evenings of conversation. You picture the elders of the village sitting here in summer twilight, telling stories of the sea. One tale drifts to your mind, one you may have once read. There was an old fisherman who spoke of a silver seal that appeared whenever the sea was calmest just before dawn. He said the seal carried luck, that if you heard it splash, you would be guided safely back to shore no matter how rough the waters later became. Perhaps it was only a story for children, a way to ease fears of families waiting. But even now you can imagine it, the glint of silver just beneath the tide, a sign of protection, as reassuring as the steady hush that follows you tonight. You sit for a while on one of the benches, letting the fountain's trickle mix with the sea's memory. Around you the lamps glow. The cobbles shine faintly, and the air feels balanced, cool on your skin, but softened by the warmth of nearby homes. Your breath deepens naturally, and your shoulders loosen further. You lean back against the wood, closing your eyes for a moment. And here the motif changes again, not just the hush of waves now, but the blend of sea and village water and stone woven together in one quiet chorus. For a moment, you recall an American summer evening, perhaps on a small town main street, where store windows reflected golden light and children played until the last edges of dusk. There is the same sense of belonging here, of being part of a rhythm larger than yourself, yet safe within it. That familiar echo comforts you, bridging places and memories in a way that feels seamless. When you open your eyes, you notice a narrow lane leading away from the square, climbing gently uphill. At its end, you see the faint silhouette of a church spire against the twilight sky, its bell tower standing like a watchful friend. You sense that from there, the view will widen, revealing sea and village together beneath the stars. And so you rise slowly, leaving the fountain's murmur behind. The hush of waves follows, mingled now with the memory of bread with amber lamplight, with the silver seal's whispered story. Step by step, you make your way toward the spire, where the night will open further, and where your journey deepens still. The lane narrows as you begin to climb. Cobblestones grow uneven, their shapes softened by centuries of footsteps. The air feels lighter here, as though the higher you rise, the more space opens around you. Behind the village square glows with its amber lamps a warm pocket of life, while ahead, the church spire grows taller, outlined now against a deep velvet sky. Each step is unhurried. You let your body settle into the rhythm of movement, gentle and steady, breathing in, breathing out, as though the climb itself is a meditation. The hush of waves still reaches you, but softened by distance, like a lullaby heard through layers of memory. The motif no longer surrounds you. It hums quietly steady, a reminder of the sea that anchors all things here. As you near the top of the hill, you pass houses closer together, their gardens lined with hedges of roses and lavender. The roses, even in twilight, release a faint sweetness, warm floral and slightly spicy. The lavender drifts into the air with its unmistakable calm, a fragrance so soft it feels like it threads through your thoughts, smoothing them into silence. You pause, drawing a slow breath, letting these scents mix with the memory of salt carried from the sea below. They settle over you like a woven blanket, each thread a comfort. At last, the lane opens onto a wide stone courtyard. Before you stands the church, its walls whitewashed, its wooden doors tall and arched. The spire rises clean and simple, without ornament yet dignified in its quiet presence. The bell above is still, though you imagine its deep tone rolling out across land and water when morning comes. For now, silence holds the tower as though it is itself resting with the night. You step to the edge of the courtyard wall where the view unfolds. Below lies the village, its lamps glowing like scattered embers, their reflections trembling faintly on narrow windows. Beyond the shoreline stretches in a graceful arc, pale sand gleaming softly under starlight. And farther still, the Baltic Sea opens wide its surface, dark silver, catching faint sparks of the first stars. The hush of waves reaches you here with even more gentleness, no longer a rhythm that rocks you, but a memory stitched into the vastness of sea and sky. The motif has changed again, subtle but clear. It is now less about sound, more about presence. The sea is always there, whether heard or not, a constant companion like the steady beat of your own heart. You lean against the stone wall, resting your hands on its cool surface. The stone feels solid, grounding, as though it has absorbed centuries of prayers, celebrations, and farewells. The church has stood here as long as memory holds, watching storms and calms, witnessing generations who lived by the sea. Tonight it watches over you as well, quietly, without demand. A breeze moves gently, lifting strands of grass near the wall, carrying the mingled scents of roses, lavender, and salt air. You close your eyes and feel it brush your skin. Cool, light, a reminder of how open this hilltop is. Breathing in, your chest expands fully, and breathing out, you feel a deep release, as though the whole body softens into the rhythm of the night. For a moment, you recall an American memory, standing on a hillside at dusk, perhaps in the Appalachians, or on a quiet prairie ridge where horizons stretch wide and stars appear one by one. The feeling is the same: spaciousness, freedom, a quiet invitation to let go of everything heavy. The familiarity comforts you, blending continents into one shared sense of peace. A small wooden door creaks slightly open at the side of the church. For an instant, you wonder if someone is there, but it is only the wind shifting through hinges, long weathered. Still, the thought lingers. How many footsteps have passed through that doorway, carrying candles, carrying hopes, carrying grief? Each life a thread woven into the fabric of this hilltop. Tonight, you too are part of that weaving, though all that is asked of you is rest. Above, the stars multiply, faint at first, then sharper, brighter, a scatter of silver across the indigo dome. The constellations of the northern sky slowly arrange themselves, Cassiopeia, her tilted W rising higher, Orion's faint shoulder near the horizon. You follow their patterns, not needing to name each one, only feeling their presence as lanterns in the dark. The bell tower casts a long shadow across the courtyard, stretching toward you, softening as the night deepens. Somewhere below, a dog barks once far away, then falls silent. A shutter closes with a muted thud, and then stillness again. The rhythm of waves the motif holds steady beneath it all, a bass note so quiet it is felt more than heard. You linger at the wall, watching stars reflected on the Baltic's surface. The sea glimmers faintly, as though carrying pieces of the sky within it. It feels as if you are standing at the meeting place of two infinities, the sky above, the water below, with the village cradled gently between them. And you simply breathing, simply being part of that balance. In time, you notice a path curving away from the courtyard, lined with lanterns leading back down the far side of the hill. Where it descends, faint light glows from what seems to be a small inn tucked among gardens and hedges. The thought of warmth waiting there, a bed prepared, a window glowing softly against the night, stirs a quiet sense of belonging in you. And so you turn from the church spire, carrying with you the vastness of stars, the hush of waves, the lavender and roses still in your breath. Step by step, you begin down the lantern-lit path toward the inn that waits below. The lanterns guide your steps slowly down the hillside. Each glow pools on the cobblestone, steady and reassuring, as if each light has been placed with care to ensure. Sure, no one ever feels lost in the dark. The air cools as you descend, but the freshness is sweet rather than sharp, carrying the faint fragrance of garden herbs that line the path, thyme, mint, and a trace of chamomile, their leaves brushing lightly against the evening breeze. At the base of the hill, tucked between hedges, the inn reveals itself. It is modest in size, its walls whitewashed, its roof sloping low tiles deepened by years of rain and sea air. A small wooden sign swings gently above the door, its letters carved simply, the edges worn smooth by time. From inside, light spills outward, the kind of light that warms not only the eyes but the spirit, soft, golden, and alive with quiet promise. As you step toward the door, the hush of waves reaches you once more, distant now, softened by walls and gardens, yet still present, as though the sea insists on being part of every moment. The motif has become more like memory than sound, a steady presence you carry with you wherever you go. The door opens easily with a gentle creak, and warmth embraces you the instant you cross the threshold. The inn is lit almost entirely by candles and lanterns, their flames dancing softly, reflecting on polished wooden beams. The air inside is layered the faint smoke of firewood, the sweetness of beeswax, and the unmistakable aroma of something baking in the kitchen. Buttery, nutty perhaps, an almond pastry cooling on a tray. You take a moment to breathe in, letting the scent settle into you, comforting and nourishing all at once. Your shoulders drop another degree, your body loosening as if it too has stepped into shelter after a long day. A figure emerges from behind a wooden counter, the innkeeper, a man with kind eyes and silver threaded through his beard. His movements are slow, unhurried, as though he has long since learned the rhythm of the village, where no moment needs to be rushed. He greets you, not with many words, but with a nod and a smile, as if to say, "Here you are, welcome without condition." He gestures toward a table near the hearth. You move toward it, your footsteps softened by woven rugs that cover the floor. The fire burns low but steady, its embers glowing with deep crimson, sending out a warmth that reaches your hands and face. You sink into a wooden chair, its back curved, its surface polished smooth by countless evenings of rest. For a moment, you sit quietly, simply listening. The inn is hushed, only the faint crackle of the fire, the distant clink of crockery in the kitchen, and beyond all walls the softened memory of the sea. The motif is faint but sure, threaded through even here, as though the wave's lull has been woven into the wood of the inn itself. The innkeeper brings a small tray to your table. On it, a clay cup filled with warm milk infused with cardamom. The steam rises, carrying a fragrance that is both sweet and slightly peppery, a combination that soothes and awakens at the same time. Beside it rests a small plate with a slice of rugbrød, the traditional dark rye bread of Denmark, spread with butter that glistens faintly in the candlelight. You lift the cup slowly, feeling the gentle heat against your palms. Taking a sip, the milk is rich, spiced, flowing smoothly over your tongue, warming you from within. The bread is hearty, dense, the butter melting into it, earthy and grounding. Each bite feels like nourishment for body and spirit, simple yet complete. As you finish, the innkeeper lingers nearby, his expression thoughtful. He tells you in a low and steady voice of an old story tied to this very village, a tale of a bell that once fell silent. Long ago, when storms swept across the Baltic, the villagers feared their fishing boats might never return. One night, the church bell was said to have rung on its own, no hand upon its rope, no wind strong enough to move it, yet it tolled steadily, guiding the boat safely back to shore. Ever since, the bell has been trusted as a guardian, Though tonight it is silent, standing watch above its presence is enough, a reassurance carved into the air. You let his words sink into you, the story mingling with the hush of waves and the comfort of firelight. There is no need to question, no need to search for proof. It is enough that the tale has been told, its echo carrying peace into the present. The innkeeper places a candle on your table, its flame small and steady. He nods once more and retreats quietly, leaving you with the warmth of your drink, the story still alive within you. You lean back in your chair, watching how the shadows play across the wooden beams. The motif of waves continues to hum softly, steady as your breath. You take a long, slow inhale, filling your lungs with the mingled scents of cardamom, wood smoke, and beeswax. And then, exhale, feeling the release carry through your body. A thought arises of an American diner late at night, where a cup of warm coffee and the hum of quiet conversation could make you feel safe even among strangers. The inn carries that same comfort translated into this northern world of candles and rye bread. Both places whisper the same truth: you are not alone and you are at rest. When you rise, the innkeeper has left a lantern ready by the door, its handle warm in your hand. He has already prepared a room for you, he explains with a nod. It waits just above at the top of a wooden staircase tucked beneath the roof. And so you begin to climb the stairs, each step cushioned by the creak of wood, each step carrying you toward deeper rest. Behind you, the hush of waves lingers, steady, constant, ready to follow you even into dreams. At the landing, you see the door to your room, a small brass key already set in its lock. You reach for it, knowing that behind it waits not only a bed, but another layer of the journey, another step deeper into Denmark's quiet night, where rest and wonder blend. The brass key turns with a soft click, and the door opens to a small, welcoming room beneath the inn's sloped roof. The air inside is cool, but carries the faint fragrance of clean linen, beeswax polish, and dried lavender hung in little bundles along the rafters. A single candle flickers on the bedside table, its glow reflected gently in the window pane. You step inside slowly, setting the lantern down by the door. The floorboards creak lightly, but the sound is not intrusive. It feels like the inn itself acknowledging your presence, settling you deeper into its quiet. The hush of waves is more distinct here, still muted by distance, but closer than before, as though the sea has positioned itself just beyond your window to sing you into rest. The motif has returned with intimacy, less a sound in the world, more a companion waiting only for you. A bed stands ready, draped in white linens, soft and slightly rumpled, as though inviting you to sink into them without hesitation. A quilt of muted blues and creams rests folded at the foot, its patchwork squares hand-stitched, each one carrying the touch of care. You run your hand over it, feeling the texture beneath your fingers, firm but gentle, the weave of fabric that holds warmth long after the night has cooled. By the window, a wooden chair waits, its back curved, its cushion slightly worn. You sit for a moment, gazing outward. The view opens over the village rooftops down to the curve of the beach, where the sea shimmers in moonlight. The waves move in their steady rhythm, silver-edged under the night sky. A lull that speaks directly to the body, coaxing every muscle into ease. You lean closer, resting your elbow on the sill, and let the rhythm enter you, a tide outside, a tide within. The candle on the table flickers gently, its flame rising and lowering with the faintest breath of the room. Shadows climb the slanted ceiling, shifting softly like clouds in slow motion. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the harmony of quiet, the hush of waves, the faint creak of rafters, the distant murmur of the inn below. Together, they create a lullaby of place, a melody that asks nothing of you except presence. Beside the bed, a small pitcher of water sits with a clay cup, condensation beading on its surface. You pour slowly, the liquid catching the candle's glow, and sip. The water is cool, clean, carrying the faintest taste of minerals grounding, clarifying a reminder of earth beneath all things. The coolness refreshes, yet it also deepens your relaxation as though balance has been restored in every breath. You remember nights in childhood when sleep came easiest, when the simple act of climbing beneath blankets after a long summer day brought peace. Perhaps it was on a porch swing drifting off while fireflies flickered in the yard or in a quiet cabin where crickets hummed outside. The feeling now is the same, the quiet certainty that rest is natural and safety surrounds you. Denmark's shore, America's memory, both weaving together into the same cradle of night. On the wall above the bed hangs a small painting, a seascape of this very coast, brushstrokes soft and fluid. The artist captured the hush of waves in muted tones of gray-blue, the sky stretched wide in pale lavender. You study it for a moment, noticing how the lines blur slightly, as though the painting itself drifts between waking and dream. It feels like a reminder that the sea has been companion to countless souls before you, and tonight it is yours as well. You rise from the chair slowly, gently, and move toward the bed. As you sit on its edge, the mattress yields softly, welcoming your weight. The linens feel cool against your palms, smooth and inviting. You slip beneath them, drawing the quilt up over your body, and feel warmth gather instantly, encasing you in quiet. Lying here, you breathe deeply once more. Inhale, letting your chest rise softly, filling with the mingled scents of lavender and linen. Exhale, letting your body sink further into the mattress, shoulders releasing, legs growing heavy. With each breath, you feel the hush of waves through the window, steady and patient, rocking you in time with the sea. The motif is strongest here, not distant, not faint, but intimate, as though the sea is breathing for you, easing you toward deeper calm. Your eyes wander back to the window, where the moon hangs above the horizon, a luminous arc spilling silver across the Baltic. The reflection trembles slightly with each tide, like a lantern carried by the water itself. The thought soothes you that the moon and sea have always spoken together, guiding sailors, whispering to dreamers, marking the rhythm of sleep through ages. The rafters above cradle you in shadow, their beams angled like protective arms. You feel held as though the very structure of the inn has become a shelter woven for you alone. No urgency, no demand, only stillness, only rest. Outside, a gull calls once, its cry softened by distance, then falls quiet. The sound blends seamlessly into the sea's lull, becoming part of the motif, part of the rhythm that continues unbroken. You take one more slow breath, filling your lungs with the quiet of the room, the salt of the air, the comfort of the bed. As you exhale, your whole body loosens further, as though the weight of day has finally dissolved. The candle burns lower, its flame small but steady. Shadows soften the room, wrapped in golden haze. The hush of waves through the window deepens, becoming not just a sound but a presence that waits beside you, patient and constant. And as your eyes grow heavier, you sense that sleep itself is near. But before you drift entirely, you notice a faint sound outside, the creak of a cart on cobblestones, wheels moving slowly through the village street. It is gentle, unhurried, almost like a lullaby in motion. You wonder where it is going, what quiet purpose it carries through the night. Curiosity stirs lightly enough to keep you in the story a little longer, enough to carry you toward the next chapter, where the cart's quiet journey might reveal another layer of Denmark's night. The sound of wooden wheels creaking over cobblestones lingers in your ears, slow, deliberate, like a lullaby that rolls through the night. You lie still for a moment beneath the quilt, wondering if the noise will fade into silence. Yet, something within you stirs a gentle curiosity, inviting you to follow. The hush of waves drifts through the window, steady and patient, as if encouraging you to rise to see where this nighttime journey leads. You slip quietly from the bed, feet touching the cool wood of the floor. The quilt falls softly back into place, and the candle by your bedside flickers low, its flame bowing gently as you move. You take the lantern left by the innkeeper, lifting it with care. Its glow stretches only a few paces ahead, but it is enough. The stairs creak as you descend, the sound folding easily into the hush of the waves, as though the whole inn exhales in rhythm with you. Outside, the air greets you fresh and cool, carrying the salt of the sea and the faint sweetness of the gardens. The moon has risen higher now, painting rooftops and cobbles in silver. You pause at the threshold listening. The wheels sound again somewhere down the lane, a steady, unhurried creak, softened by distance. You begin to walk, lantern swaying lightly in your hand. The village at night is hushed, yet not empty. Windows glow faintly, curtains drawn close. A dog stirs once in a doorway, then settles back into its dreams. The cart's wheels continue their gentle song, guiding you forward. The hush of waves, though fainter here, still threads beneath every sound, as if sea and street share the same heartbeat. Turning a corner, you find the source, a cart laden with baskets of bread, each loaf wrapped in cloth, still warm enough that their fragrance escapes into the night. The baker himself walks slowly beside it, a stout man with shoulders broad, his cap pulled low against the cool air. He hums softly as he goes, not a melody you recognize, but one that rises and falls like the tide itself. He notices you in the lantern glow and offers a nod, his expression kind but reserved. Without words, he gestures to the baskets, inviting you to take in the scent. You lean closer, inhaling deeply. The aroma is rich, nutty rye and faint sweetness, like honey brushed lightly over crust. The warmth of it stirs something deep in you, the memory of kitchens long past, of bread cooling on racks of evenings when nourishment and comfort were one. The baker explains in a low, steady tone that he delivers bread at night while the village sleeps, so that each home wakes to freshness by morning. It has been his family's rhythm for generations, a rhythm as constant as the hush of waves. He chuckles gently, saying that the sea wakes earlier than any baker ever could, and perhaps that is why its sound guides him through the lanes. You walk with him for a while, your lantern light mingling with his, the cart rolling steadily over cobblestones. Each turn of the wheel feels soothing, like a breath repeated again and again. The motif of waves, though distant, seems to echo in that rhythm, as if sea and cart share the same quiet purpose. As he stops before one home, he leaves a basket at the door, placing it gently as though not to disturb those within. You notice how carefully he works, each movement slow, intentional, respectful of the night. It reminds you of quiet American towns where milk bottles once waited at porches by dawn, or papers landed softly on stoops. That same tenderness exists here, an unspoken care that binds a community together in silence. The baker speaks of old tales as you walk. He tells of Nis, the little house spirits of Danish folklore, who are said to guard homes if treated kindly, especially at Christmas time. A bowl of porridge left out, a candle lit, these gestures kept the spirits content. He says, half in jest, that perhaps the Nises still ride with him on his nightly rounds, ensuring the bread reaches each home untouched. You smile at the thought, picturing small, unseen figures perched on the cart, listening to the hush of waves as faithfully as you do. The lane narrows, turning back toward the shore. Soon the sound of the sea grows clearer again, threading more insistently into the night. The motif strengthens here, not loud, but steady. A cradle beneath the hum of the baker's song and the cart's wheels. You realize that even away from the water, the sea never truly leaves. Its presence lingers in bread, in stories, in the very rhythm of life. At last, the baker stops, placing his final basket at the door of a small cottage whose windows glow faintly from within. He straightens, stretching his back, then turns to you with a quiet smile. He says no more, but his eyes carry the warmth of someone who lives in harmony with night and tide. With a nod, he guides the cart back toward the square, the creak of wheels fading slowly until only the hush of waves remains. You stand for a moment beneath the moon lantern still in your hand. The village lies quiet, the scent of bread still lingering in the air. You close your eyes, breathing in deeply salt, rye, wood smoke from a distant chimney, all of it weaving together into a lull that settles in your chest. Ahead, you notice a narrow path leading back toward the shoreline, where the sea's rhythm calls more clearly now. You know the journey is drawing you there toward the sand and water that first welcomed you. The hush of waves is steady, insistent, like a voice that has more to share. And so, lantern in hand, you step gently toward the shore, leaving the village behind, ready to discover what the night along the Baltic still holds. The path narrows as you leave the last cottages behind. Lantern in hand, you walk slowly toward the sound that has been calling all along the hush of waves, steady and patient like a companion waiting faithfully for your return. The cobblestones give way to packed earth and soon to sand. Soft beneath your feet, cool now with night air textured with the faint traces of grasses that cling to the dunes. The moon has risen higher, a pale silver disk spilling its light generously across the shoreline. Dunes rise gently on either side of the path, their long grasses bending in the breeze, whispering in tones that echo the sea itself. Each blade moves like a brushstroke on the canvas of night, softening every sound, slowing every thought. You pause to breathe in deeply, the air tinged with salt and something faintly smoky, a scent that draws you closer. As you crest one of the dunes, the beach opens wide before you, and there, tucked in a hollow shielded from the wind, a small driftwood fire glows. Its flames are modest, never leaping, but curling upward with a quiet grace, sending sparks that drift like fireflies into the dark. Someone has tended it with care, perhaps a fisherman finishing his watch, or a wanderer who knows the art of keeping warmth alive by the sea. You approach slowly, lantern light merging with firelight until you set it gently aside in the sand. The fire's glow reaches you, warming your face, easing the night's coolness from your hands. You lower yourself to sit on the sand, which yields comfortably beneath you, its grain still holding the day's memory of sun. The hush of waves is strong here, steady, insistent, yet never overwhelming. Each wave rushes forward, curls into a sigh, then retreats, leaving behind a glistening trace that mirrors the moon. The motif has grown fuller again, a living rhythm that cradles the fire's crackle, your own breath and the pulse of night. Beside the fire lies a piece of driftwood, smooth pale by the sea, its surface etched with lines as delicate as script. You run your hand over it, feeling the grooves, a language of tides carved patiently through time. It reminds you of how stories are passed down not in books alone, but in the quiet work of waves and the soft erosion that writes history onto stone and wood. You recall a Danish tale one whispered often to children by the shore of a havfru, a sea maiden who would sometimes appear at night, her song woven into the sound of the waves. She was not there to tempt sailors as other myths suggested, but to comfort them, to remind them that even when the sea was vast and dark, it carried kindness in its depths. The firelight flickers as you think of her, as though the flames themselves nod in agreement. The scent of smoke mingles with the salt air weaving into the moment. You inhale deeply, letting it ground you further. The earthiness of burned wood, the freshness of the Baltic, the faint sweetness of dune grass. Each breath feels balance complete, carrying both strength and calm. For a while, you simply watch. Sparks rise into the night and fade into stars. Waves rush and retreat in their endless tide. The fire crackles softly, matching your heartbeat. In this stillness, you feel time loosen its grip, as though the night stretches without measure, leaving only presence, only now. An echo of an American memory stirs of summer nights by a campfire on a lake shore where voices quieted as embers glowed and the only sound was water lapping at the shore. That same comfort fills you here, thousands of miles away, yet bound by the universal language of fire and water, hush and glow. The sand shifts slightly beneath your hand, cool grain slipping between your fingers. You lean back, resting your weight, allowing your body to surrender to the shoreline. The firelight dances over the dune's grasses, painting them gold against the silver wash of moonlight. Above, constellations wheel slowly, patient in their eternal arcs. The motif of the waves grows gentler in your awareness, no longer something outside but something within, as though the tide itself has become your own breath, your own rhythm. The fire, the sea, the night, all of it threads together into one cradle, rocking you further into ease. You close your eyes for a moment, hearing only the hush, the sigh, the retreat. Each sound wraps you like a blanket. Each pause between waves invites you deeper into stillness. And when you open your eyes again, you notice something new. Down the beach where the moonlight brightens the sand, you see the faint outline of a wooden boat pulled up onto the shore. Its bow points toward the dunes, its hull resting as though it too is at peace for the night. A rope trails from it, half buried in sand, leading back toward the fire's glow. The sight stirs your curiosity once more. The boat seems to hold a story where it has been, who it carried, what secrets it holds within its worn wood. The hush of waves beckons you toward it, as if the sea itself wants you to draw closer. And so you rise slowly from the fire, brushing sand from your hands, lantern once more in your grasp. Ahead, the boat waits in silver light, and you step toward it, toward another layer of the Baltic night, toward a new chapter that the waves are ready to reveal. The boat rests quietly in the sand, its hull pale in the moonlight, worn smooth by years of tide and weather. You approach slowly, lantern casting a soft glow across the wood. Its shape is simple, a fisherman's vessel, nothing ornate, yet there is a dignity to the way it lies here, angled gently against the shore, as though the sea itself has placed it in safekeeping for the night. You reach out and lay your hand against the bow. The wood is cool, its grain rippled like lines on an aged palm. You trace those ridges with your fingers, sensing the lives that have passed through this vessel. Journeys begun at dawn, nets cast into the deep, laughter shared between companions, silences held when the sea grew restless. The hush of waves nearby feels like their echo, the motif rising in resonance, no longer just a rhythm, but a voice carrying memory itself. Beside the boat lies a coil of rope, frayed but strong, its fibers smelling faintly of salt and tar. You kneel to touch it, feeling how each strand is bound tightly to the others, impossible to separate without unraveling the whole. It reminds you of human lives, how each one is twined into another, how communities, families, and friendships form cords that hold through storms and years. The sea stirs softly, sending a wave that slides up to the boat's keel, brushing it gently before retreating. The sound is tender, almost affectionate, as if the water greets its companion. You close your eyes, letting that sound sink into you, letting the motif shift once more, not only the hush of waves now, but the sense of belonging they carry. Just as the sea never forgets the shore, you feel too that you are remembered here. You lean against the side of the boat, sitting in the sand. The grains are cool beneath you, their texture shifting with each movement. Above, the sky has deepened into an expanse of stars, countless points of silver stretched wide across the Baltic night. The moon sits lower now, but brighter, spilling its light like a path over the water. For a moment, you imagine stepping into the boat and drifting out along that silver lane, guided not by oars, but by the hush of waves alone. A story comes to you, one the baker's family might have told long ago, of how the moon was once thought to be a lantern carried by a guardian across the sky, ensuring that no traveler was ever left without light. Looking at its reflection shimmering across the Baltic, you feel that same truth. No matter how wide the sea, there is always a lantern to follow. The motif of waves seems to agree, each hush like an affirmation. You breathe in deeply, filling your chest with the scent of salt and wood smoke that still lingers from the driftwood fire. As you exhale, your shoulders drop further, your body surrendering to the rhythm around you. The sea's lull becomes your lull. The boat's stillness becomes your stillness. The thought drifts into your mind of quiet American lakes at night, sitting on a dock where the boards creak gently, water lapping at posts, fireflies dancing in the dark. That same wonder lives here thousands of miles away, yet it feels connected, like places speaking to each other through water and light. You smile faintly, realizing how wonder has no borders. It belongs to every shoreline, every soul willing to listen. The boat's shadow stretches long over the sand, shaped by moonlight. You trace its outline with your eyes, as if reading a story in its silhouette. It tells you of resilience, of journeys endured, of the grace of returning again and again to safe shores. And tonight it tells you that rest itself is a kind of harbor, that sleep when it comes is no different than a boat cradled gently on sand. For a while you remain there, body quiet, eyes half closed. The hush of waves fills your ears, steady, infinite. Your breath follows slow and even, carried like tide. The world feels vast, yet you are not lost in it. You are held, known, remembered. When you open your eyes once more, you notice a faint glow farther down the beach. It is not fire, not moonlight, but the small, steady flame of a lantern hanging from a post near the water. Its glow trembles in the breeze, casting light on the sand around it. You wonder who placed it there and why. A signal for someone at sea, or perhaps simply a gift for any wanderer who might come this way. The hush of waves guides your gaze toward it. The motif deepens once more, urging gently, as though the sea itself wants you to follow. And so you rise, brushing sand from your hands, taking up your own lantern once again. The boat remains behind you, resting in silver quiet, but its story lingers with you, stitched into your breath. Ahead, the small lantern glows a beacon in the night, and you step slowly toward it, drawn by wonder, drawn by the rhythm of waves that never cease. The glow of the lantern sways gently in the night breeze, its flame steady yet alive, flickering just enough to catch your eye with each shift of the air. You draw closer, your own lantern held low, its light merging with the glow ahead until the sand between them gleams as though stitched by a golden thread. The post it hangs from is simple, weathered by salt, and years planted firmly in the sand near the tide line. The lantern itself is made of glass panes framed by iron edges, rusted but strong, its flame enclosed safely within. It seems to have been placed here with quiet intention, not as decoration, but as a guide, a signal for someone who might wander, or return, or seek comfort in the dark. You stand before it, feeling the hush of waves rise around you. The sound has deepened here, more insistent yet still gentle, as if the sea itself speaks through the rhythm. The motif has changed once again, no longer just presence or memory, but guidance. The waves hush, sigh, retreat, and with each cycle they seem to whisper, "Here is light, here is safety, here is home." The flame inside the lantern dances, reflecting in the glass, so that it seems multiplied, one light becoming many, like stars gathered in a single vessel. You lean closer, watching the way it glows against the backdrop of the sea. Behind it, the Baltic stretches foam and dark, but with this flame before you, it feels less immense, less unknowable. A single light is enough to make even endless waters feel companionable. A memory stirs of an American shoreline, perhaps a New England coast, where lighthouses stand tall against the sea. Their beams sweep wide, cutting through fog, reassuring travelers they are not alone. This lantern by the Danish shore carries the same truth, only smaller, gentler, scaled to the intimacy of the moment. Its reach is not across miles, but across hearts, reminding you that light, no matter how small, always finds its way into the dark. You sit on the sand before it, letting your body sink easily, the grains soft and cool beneath your palms. The lantern's glow paints your hands gold, while the hush of waves continues its steady hymn. Closing your eyes, you take a slow breath. Inhale, filling your chest with the mingled sense of salt iron and faint smoke from the wick. Exhale, letting it out slowly, your body sinking deeper into calm. Each breath feels guided by the lantern's glow, by the wave's lull, by something larger than yourself that asks only trust. The innkeeper's story of the church bell drifts back to you, and you realize how often this coast has offered signals of safety. Bells' lights, even tales of sea maidens whose songs were gentle rather than fearful. Always the sea gives more than it takes if one only learns to listen. Tonight you are listening, and in return it offers you guidance in the form of flame and hush. You open your eyes, and the lantern's glow wavers slightly. The flame bends as a breeze passes, but it does not falter. Its resilience feels like a lesson. Even when winds rise, light holds steady. You watch it for a long while, letting the message settle into you, as if the sea itself wanted you to carry this truth into your dreams. In the distance you hear faint music. Not loud, not sharp, only a thin thread of melody carried by air. Perhaps it is someone farther down the shore playing quietly on a flute, or perhaps it is the sea reshaping its hush into tune. The sound blends seamlessly with the waves, weaving another layer into the motif, another voice in the chorus of night. You rise slowly, brushing sand from your hands. The lantern continues to glow steady and patient, as though it has no need to be moved, no urgency at all. Yet beyond it, the beach stretches farther, and the faint music seems to call from that direction. You sense that the journey continues, that wonder still waits just ahead. You glance once more at the flame, imprinting its glow in your memory. Then, with lantern in hand, you step past the post, leaving it behind, but carrying its guidance with you. The hush of waves swells gently, encouraging each step forward. Ahead, the music drifts clearer now, threading through the night air, promising something unexpected yet kind. The sea keeps its rhythm, the stars keep their watch, and you follow into another layer of wonder, deeper into the embrace of Denmark's tranquil shores. The music drifts more clearly as you walk. A thin silvery thread carried on the air, rising and falling like the tide itself. Each note is unhurried, spacious, leaving silence between phrases as generous as the sea. You follow its pull, your lantern casting a soft circle of light on the sand. The hush of waves merges seamlessly with the melody, the motif transformed into harmony, sea and song breathing together. At last, you see the source. Near the edge of the tide sits a figure, a lantern beside them, and a wooden flute raised gently to their lips. They sit cross-legged on the sand, shoulders, relaxed bodies still, as if they too are part of the shoreline. The music they play is simple, repeating not performance, but offering. A lullaby for the sea, or perhaps for themselves. You pause a little distance away, not wishing to intrude. The lantern's glow catches the curve of the flute, polished smooth by years of touch. The tune carries something familiar. You think of old folk songs, of lullabies sung in rocking chairs, of melodies that traveled across oceans in memory alone. Each note falls into place like a shell placed carefully on the shore, small yet timeless. The hush of waves swells with it, sighing forward, receding as if listening. The motif is no longer just rhythm, it has become duet. You realize that the sea, the flute, and the stars above are playing together, weaving a song that holds the whole night within it. You sit quietly in the sand, lowering your lantern, allowing its glow to join the one already burning. The grains are cool beneath you, shaping gently to your form, holding you as the melody holds your mind. You breathe slowly, deeply. inhaling salt and night air, exhaling into calm. Each breath feels like a note in the music, like your body itself has joined the song. The figure lowers the flute at last, letting the final tone dissolve into the hush of waves. For a long moment, silence reigns, not empty, but full rich, with the echo of sound that still lingers in air and chest. They turn slightly, noticing you now, their expression soft in the lantern light. No surprise, no question, only a smile, as if your presence was expected all along. In a voice low and calm, they speak of the tradition of playing by the shore. They tell you that music has always lived here, carried in stories, in dances, in lullabies sung to children as waves kept rhythm outside. The sea, they say, is the first instrument, and everything else only tries to follow its lead. You nod, feeling the truth in those words, the hush of waves affirming them with each breath. They set the flute across their lap and tell you of another tale of fishermen who believe that certain melodies, when played on shore, could call the sea into calm. Perhaps it was superstition, or perhaps it was trust in the bond between sound and water. Either way, they played and the sea listened. Tonight you have listened too, and you feel calmer, as though part of you has been reshaped by the music. The stars above gleam brighter, as if leaning closer to hear. The moon rests low, spilling its light across the tide until it looks like liquid silver stretched over the water. The scene around you feels eternal, lanterns, glowing waves breathing a flute resting on sand. You close your eyes again, letting this image sink into memory, knowing it will return whenever you call for calm. For a moment, you think of American nights' porch swings, where guitars strum softly, fiddles humming in barns, or the low whistle of trains echoing across plains. Music has always carried the same role, not just sound, but presence, a reminder that we are never alone in the vastness. That recognition fills you with warmth, binding this Danish shore to the memories of your own life. The figure beside you lifts the flute once more and plays a single note, long and clear, letting it drift outward until it melts into the sea. They smile again, then gently pack the instrument into a cloth pouch. Without words, they rise, lantern in hand, and begin walking slowly back toward the village. You remain where you are, watching their light diminish in the distance, leaving you once more alone with the sea. Yet the hush of waves is no longer solitude. It carries the memory of music, the resonance of a shared moment that lingers long after silence returns. The motif has become more than rhythm, more than guidance. It has become song, and you carry it within you now. You sit a little longer, breathing in the night, letting awe settle in your chest like a stone placed gently in still water. Every sense feels alive, yet softened: the sight of stars, the scent of salt, the sound of tide, the cool touch of sand, the faint taste of brine on your lips. All of it weaves into one tapestry, simple and whole. When at last you rise, your lantern once more in hand, you notice the shoreline curving farther ahead. Beyond it, the dunes rise taller, their grasses shimmering under moonlight. A path winds between them, leading inland where shadows deepen and the night's mystery thickens. You sense that wonder continues there, waiting for you, quiet and patient. And so, with slow steps, you turn from the open water, carrying the hush of waves, the echo of music, and the glow of stars, into the path that leads beyond, toward another layer of Denmark's tranquil night. The path curves gently between the dunes. Tall grasses rise on either side, their long blades shimmering in moonlight, bowing lightly in the breeze. The lantern in your hand casts a warm glow over the sand, but the greater light comes from above, silver, steady, endless. Stars gleam in countless numbers, stretching from horizon to horizon, and the moon drapes everything in its soft cloak of calm. The hush of waves follows you, fainter now, but still steady, a pulse beneath every sound. The motif has grown intimate, less like the sea outside and more like something within a rhythm of heart, of breath, of quiet presence that never leaves. You slow your steps, letting your body sink deeper into the night's pace. Each grain of sand shifts softly beneath your feet. Each breath feels longer, fuller, carrying the salt of the sea and the sweetness of the dune grass. You pause and close your eyes, inhaling deeply, feeling how the air fills every space within you, how it softens your chest, your shoulders, your very thoughts. Exhaling, you release even more as though the dunes themselves are breathing with you. The dunes roll gently on either side, their shapes like waves frozen in time, sculpted not by water, but by wind. You run your hand across the surface of one, and the sand feels cool, fine, flowing easily between your fingers. The sensation reminds you of water slipping over skin, of the tide itself, as though sea and dune are kin, two voices of the same earth. In the silence, you notice your own footsteps fade, more quickly, muffled by sand. The world grows quieter, more still, until even the wind seems to pause. In this pause, wonder expands. You realize how vast the night is, how it holds everything. The village you left, the boat on the shore, the music by the tide, and now this path through dunes, each layer folded gently into the next. A memory rises from within, unbidden yet welcome. Perhaps of lying beneath a starry sky on a summer night, back home, fireflies winking among tall grass, the hum of cicadas filling the air. That same feeling hums here, the sense of being small in the grandness of the world, yet cherished within it. You smile softly, recognizing that awe does not diminish you. It cradles you, places you gently within something greater, like a wave setting a shell back on shore. You walk farther, lantern light, bobbing with your steps until the dunes open into a hollow. Here the sand is smoother, undisturbed, as though it has waited only for you. You sit slowly, setting the lantern down, and lean back against the slope. The stars expand above, vast and innumerable, a sky so full it seems to overflow into your chest. The hush of waves returns in your awareness, though faint from distance, yet now it beats in time with your own heart. The motif has reached its deepest form, no longer sound, no longer guidance, but unity, sea breath, and being all one rhythm. You realize you have not lost the sea as you moved inland. It lives within you now, carried wherever you go. Lying back in the sand, you feel grains shifting beneath you, forming gently to your shape, cradling you as if earth itself has become a bed. The coolness against your body contrasts with the warmth of the quilt back at the inn, yet both hold you, both comfort you. You stretch your arms slightly, fingers trailing across the surface, and every touch feels grounding, anchoring. The air tastes faintly of salt, still carried even here, and mingles with something sweeter, the scent of dune grass warmed by moonlight. You breathe it in, savoring its quiet complexity. With each breath, your body grows heavier, as though the sand beneath is pulling away the last threads of tension. For a while, you simply gaze upward. Stars shimmer like countless lanterns hung in the sky. The Milky Way arches faintly, a river of light flowing overhead, echoing the sea below. You marvel at how the world mirrors itself, sky and sea, dune and wave, lantern and star. Nothing is ever truly separate. Everything reflects, repeats, belong. A whisper of folklore comes to you of how sailors once navigated by these very stars, trusting them to carry them home. Tonight you feel guided by them too, not to any place on a map, but to a state of being, to a peace that requires no destination, only presence. The motif of waves, even unseen, affirms this. Its rhythm, steady, eternal, woven into sky and sand alike. You close your eyes once more, and the sound of your breath fills your ears, slow and even. It is the same rhythm as the tide, the same hush as the sea, the same song as the flute. You feel held in it as though the entire world is breathing with you. Wonder softens into belonging, awe melts into serenity. When you open your eyes again, you see just beyond the hollow the faint outline of a wooden fence half buried in sand. Beyond it, a light glimmers low, perhaps from another cottage or a small hut nestled among the dunes. The glow is faint but steady, a sign that the journey continues, that warmth and story still wait ahead. And so you rise slowly, brushing sand from your hands, taking up your lantern once more. The hush of waves remains within you, steady, infinite, ready to follow wherever you go. You step toward the faint light, ready to discover what waits among the dunes. The glow ahead steadies as you walk, a small light tucked low among the dunes, its warmth spilling faintly across the sand. Each step toward it feels unhurried, deliberate, as though the night itself is guiding you gently without need for haste. The lantern in your hand sways softly, its glow merging with the one that waits ahead until the two lights seem to speak to each other across the hollow. At last, the shape of the hut reveals itself. It is simple, built of driftwood and stone roofed with thatch that gleams pale beneath the moon. Its walls are rough but solid, every beam bearing the mark of hands that shaped it long ago. A low doorway stands open, and from within glows the steady flame of a single oil lamp. The air carries a faint fragrance, wood smoke, and something sweeter, perhaps honey melting in warm tea. You pause at the threshold, listening. The hush of waves is faint here, but it lingers, a presence woven into the silence. The motif has reached its quietest form, yet no longer insistent, no longer guiding, but simply existing, as eternal as breath. It is the background of all things, the thread that ties land to sea, body to spirit, waking to dream. You step inside, ducking beneath the low frame. The hut is small, only one room yet. Every detail feels intentional. A wooden table rests at the center, a clay teapot steaming upon it, two cups already placed, as though someone expected your arrival. Along one wall, shelves hold jars of herbs and small bundles of dried flowers. Another wall is lined with driftwood carvings, smooth figures of fish birds, boats, each one polished to a soft sheen. You lower yourself onto a bench by the table. The wood is warm, as though it has absorbed the sun of countless days. You wrap your hands around the cup waiting for you, and the steam curls upward, carrying the scent of chamomile and honey. You sip slowly. The flavor is gentle, floral, and sweet, and it spreads warmth through your chest, dissolving what remains of restlessness. For a moment, you simply breathe, sipping, listening. The hut is hushed except for the occasional crackle from the lamp's wick. Yet beneath it, faint but sure, the waves continue. The motif is still here, even through walls, even through silence. It feels now like time itself, a reminder that everything moves forward and returns endlessly patient. Your eyes wander to the carvings along the wall. One catches your attention, a small boat with a bird perched on its bow, wings outstretched as if ready for flight. You trace its smooth surface with your fingers, the grain cool under your touch. It reminds you of the boat you saw earlier on the shore, resting in moonlight, and of how every vessel, no matter how far it travels, seeks a place of return. Sleep, too, is such a vessel, carrying you out into dreams, only to bring you safely back. You think of American cabins in quiet woods, where mugs of tea steamed by the fire and shelves held trinkets carved by hand. That same feeling fills you here, a sense of belonging, of being woven into a lineage of rest and story. Though this hut is foreign, it feels familiar, as if some part of you has always known it. You finish your tea, setting the cup gently back on the table. Your body feels heavier now, not with weariness, but with a deep readiness for rest. Your breath is slow, steady, each inhale carrying the scent of chamomile, each exhale releasing into ease. The lamp burns lower, its glow softening shadows stretching along the walls. You lean back against the bench, eyelids heavy yet still open enough to watch the play of light. The hush of waves threads faintly through it, all the motif constant, eternal, unchanged. You realize now that it has always been more than sound. It is the very rhythm of being, the reassurance that nothing is ever truly lost, only carried forward and returned again. Your gaze drifts once more to the doorway where the dunes sway in moonlight, grasses bowing like quiet choirs in the wind. Beyond them, you know the sea continues, vast, infinite, steady, though you no longer need to see it to feel its presence. It has entered you, settled within you, as natural as your own breath. You rise slowly, taking one last look at the small carving, the lamp, the cup that still holds the scent of honey. The hut feels less like a place you discovered and more like a memory you had forgotten, one you can carry now wherever you go. Stepping outside, the night greets you once more. The dunes stretch wide, the sky glitters with stars. The sea hushes and sighs just beyond. You hold your lantern gently, but you realize you no longer need its light. The moon is enough. The stars are enough. The hush of waves is enough. Ahead, a path winds back toward the village, where rooftops glimmer faintly, waiting like old friends. You sense that your journey is slowly turning toward closure, that wonder has unfolded fully, and now rests in your chest like a quiet ember. And so you take a step forward, carrying the motif with you, carrying the memory of hut and tea and carvings, moving gently toward the next chapter where all will dissolve into serenity and the night will guide you deeper into rest. The path curves gently away from the hut, winding between the dunes as moonlight follows you. Each step feels lighter now, as though the sand itself has softened to carry you forward without effort. The grasses bow and sway in the breeze, their whispers blending with the steady hush of the waves beyond. The motif has softened to less a call, less a guide, and more a lullaby, now coaxing you into deeper calm. You walk slowly, lantern in hand, though its glow feels less necessary beneath the wide silver wash of the moon. Stars gleam steadily above, no longer demanding awe, but offering quiet companionship. Their presence is gentle, a reminder of continuity, of the endless cycle of night and day, wake and sleep. The dunes slope downward, and soon the sea returns to view. Its surface is calm silver, stretched wide under the moon's hand waves, sliding forward and back in a rhythm too patient to hurry. You pause at the crest of sand, breathing deeply, letting the salt air fill your lungs, letting it loosen your chest, letting it spill through every part of you. Exhaling, you feel lighter still, as though each breath is carrying something away, leaving you emptier and freer. Descending, you find a stretch of beach where the sand is smooth and pale, undisturbed by footprints. You lower yourself to sit near the waterline, setting your lantern beside you. The tide inches close, curling around your toes before retreating with a sigh. The sensation is cool and tender, as though the sea is greeting you with the gentlest of touches. The motif has returned as touch, not just sound, the rhythm of waves now on your skin, rocking you in and out of the moment. You lean back on your hands, gazing outward. The horizon is a blur of silver and shadow, where sea and sky meet in seamless calm. For a while, you do nothing but breathe and watch. Your body grows heavier, your mind slower, every thought stretching thin like mist, dissolving into air. You recall American shores you may have known, perhaps walking along a quiet lake at dusk, when water mirrored the sky so perfectly that you felt you were suspended between worlds. That same feeling lives here, of being held between two infinities, both above and below, and knowing you belong to both. The memory soothes you, bridging continents into a single embrace. A gull calls distantly, its cry thin and softened by distance. It fades quickly, leaving only the hush of waves. The motif is now singular, unbroken, the one sound that remains. You realize it has always been this way. Every other sound, every other detail fades eventually, but the tide continues, patient and eternal. You lower yourself fully onto the sand, lying back so that your body meets its cool surface. The grains shift to cradle you, shaping gently to your form, as though the earth itself has made a bed for you. Above, stars shimmer faintly, less insistent now, allowing your eyes to half close. You breathe in. Salt and sand, faint smoke from driftwood still lingering. You breathe out, your body sinking deeper, shoulders releasing, legs, heavy arms soft. The waves continue their rhythm, filling your ears, your chest, your very breath. Each hush washes over you like comfort. Each retreat leaves you lighter. You imagine tension itself being carried away, drawn out by the tide, dissolved into the sea where it no longer belongs to you. The lantern beside you flickers softly, its glow mingling with moonlight. You watch it for a moment, then close your eyes, knowing you no longer need its light. The night itself is enough. The motif of waves is enough. For a long while you drift in this stillness, body resting on sand, sea singing its lullaby, stars watching in silence. Time stretches, bends, dissolves. You feel as though you are neither here nor elsewhere, neither waking nor dreaming, but floating in a space where all is ease. When you open your eyes again, you notice something new. Far down the shoreline, faint and small, another glow appears, the familiar lamps of the village, waiting quietly in the distance. Their light does not call with urgency, but with invitation, reminding you of warmth still waiting, of belonging that continues even after wonder has unfolded. You rise slowly, brushing sand from your hands, lifting your lantern once more. The hush of waves follows as you begin walking toward those distant lights, step by step, each one softer, each one more restful. And as you move, you sense that the journey is turning toward its close, not in ending, but in deepening. Ahead, comfort waits. Around you, the night breathes steadily. Within you, the motif of waves continues eternal, ready to carry you the rest of the way into rest. The shoreline bends gradually, carrying you back toward the village. The distant lamps you saw earlier grow clearer, now flickering softly against the backdrop of night. Their glow is modest, never piercing the dark, but warm enough to feel like a welcome, as though each window you approach has kept its light burning just for you. The hush of waves continues behind you, steady, patient. Though farther now, the motif lingers in your chest as much as in your ears. The rhythm has become a hum within you, less a sound of the world, more a thread of being. Each step on the sand echoes it, each breath follows its tide. Soon cobblestones replace sand beneath your feet once more. They are cool under the soles of your shoes, rounded smooth, still damp with evening air. The lantern sways gently in your hand, but the village lamps themselves are enough to guide you. You realize you no longer need to hold tightly to light. It surrounds you now, in windows, in lanterns, in stars. You pass by houses low and wide, their walls painted white or faded red, their roofs dark against the sky. Lace curtains flutter faintly, catching moonlight. From one window, the scent of apples drifts outward, baked slowly with cinnamon, filling the night with a sweetness that lingers. You pause to inhale deeply, letting the aroma curl through your senses, layering comfort on top of calm. The hush of waves slips quietly beneath it, as though even the sea is savoring this fragrance. The motif has changed again, no longer only sound, but taste and scent woven into the simplest pleasures of night. You move onward, and a dog stirs in a doorway, lifting its head with drowsy curiosity. Its tail wags once before it lowers itself back down, curling into sleep once more. The sound of its sigh joins the quiet, blending seamlessly with the sigh of the tide you still carry. At the edge of the square, the fountain murmurs, water glistening faintly under lamplight. Its trickle feels familiar now, as though greeting you after your journey. You sit for a moment on one of the benches, the wood cool beneath you, and listen. The fountain's voice is higher than the sea's, yet it shares the same rhythm, flow, pause, return. The motif echoes here, transformed but steady. Closing your eyes, you take a slow breath. Inhale, the sweetness of apples, the freshness of stone after night air. Exhale, sinking deeper into your seat, feeling your shoulders loosen, your chest soften, your very thoughts grow light. Around you, the village hums in silence. No bustle, no hurry, only the quiet life of homes resting. For a brief moment, you recall the quiet of small-town America, where porches glowed with lanterns in summer, where rocking chairs creaked gently and fireflies floated lazily in the dark. The same tenderness lives here. Though the setting is Danish, the feeling is universal, belonging, warmth, the certainty of being safe where you are. A soft breeze brushes through the square, stirring the surface of the fountain. Ripples spread outward, catching lamplight before fading back into stillness. You realize the night itself is doing the same, rippling softly through you, leaving only calm in its wake. The motif of waves hums beneath it, all the tide in your breath, the tide in your heart. When you open your eyes, you notice a small inn window glowing nearby, the very place you left earlier. Its curtains are drawn, but the light within remains steady and warm. The sight stirs something quiet within you, a sense of homecoming, of a circle closing. You feel the story itself, drawing you back gently, with no urgency, but with certainty. You rise slowly, lantern still in your hand, and begin to walk toward the inn's door. Each step on the cobblestones feels like a settling, like being guided into rest. The hush of waves is fainter now, yet its presence is steady, threaded through everything you see and feel. It has become the background to all comfort, the motif now a hum beneath the fabric of home. And as you lift your hand to the inn's door, you sense that the journey is easing toward closure. Still more warmth awaits, still more stillness to come. But you are already resting deeper than before, carried forward by the sea's eternal lull. The inn's door opens with the same gentle creak as before, as if it has been waiting for your return. Warm air drifts outward to meet you, scented with beeswax-baked bread and the faintest trace of wood smoke. You step inside slowly, lantern in hand, and the door closes behind you with a soft click, sealing the village outside in its quiet rest. The interior is hushed. A few candles still glow, their flames steady and low, throwing pools of amber light across polished beams and woven rugs. The fire in the hearth has burned down to embers glowing like deep red coals at the heart of the room. The inn itself feels drowsy now, as though it too is preparing for sleep. The hush of waves lingers faintly through the walls, softer now, blended with silence. The motif has become less a sound to follow, and more a rhythm you carry unconsciously, your breath, your heartbeat, the tide of stillness in your body. The innkeeper has left the stairway lit with a single lantern at its base. Its glow small, but enough to guide you upward. You move quietly, each step on the wooden stairs creaking with familiarity, as though welcoming you back. The sound does not disturb you. It joins the rhythm of the waves, another voice in the lullaby of night. At the top, your room waits with its door ajar, a warm flicker visible within. You step inside and the sight calms you instantly. The quilt lies smoothed across the bed, the candle on the table burns low, and the window is cracked, just enough to let in the cool night air. Through it comes the faintest whisper of the sea, the motif now gentler than ever, a breath of tide drifting into the room. You set your lantern down and slip out of your shoes, feet meeting the smooth wooden floor. The air in the room tastes faintly of lavender and salt, a pairing that soothes and grounds. You sit on the bed, feeling the mattress yield beneath you, then draw the quilt up as you lie down. The linens are cool, the quilt warm, the balance perfect. For a while, you lie still, gazing toward the window. The moon has shifted higher, casting silver across the glass, making it shimmer faintly. Beyond it, the sea glows in fragments, each wave catching a glint of light before dissolving back into shadow. The motif is steady, unbroken, carrying you closer to sleep, With each hush and retreat, you close your eyes and focus on breath. Inhale, air-cooled chest rising, mind open. Exhale, body softening, shoulders dropping, thoughts drifting. Each breath is a tide. Each tide is the sea. And the sea is here even now, even in this quiet room. A childhood memory drifts through you of lying beneath blankets, while rain pattered softly on the roof, a sound that carried you into the deepest of sleeps. Tonight, the hush of waves is that same sound, only wider, eternal, infinite. The memory and the present blend, both carrying you downward into calm. The candle flickers lower, its light growing dimmer. Shadows stretch gently along the walls, softening every corner, erasing sharp edges, until the room feels like a cradle itself. The hush of waves continues so faint, you are no longer sure whether you hear it outside or only within. The motif has become indistinguishable from your own breath, steady, infinite, timeless. Your eyelids grow heavy, every blink longer than the last. The quilt warms you fully now, weight enough to anchor you, softness enough to hold you. You feel yourself drifting, body sinking deeper, thoughts loosening thread by thread. Just before sleep takes you completely, you sense something, the rhythm itself, the waves hush carrying a quiet promise that rest is safe, that dreams are near, that you are exactly where you are meant to be. And as you yield to that promise, you know there is still one final chapter waiting. One last gentle passage before night closes fully around you. The room grows quieter still. The candle flickers low, its flame leaning, bowing, until at last it steadies into a small golden glow. Shadows soften across the slanted ceiling, wrapping you in a cocoon of light and dark. Beyond the window, the moon rests higher now, casting its silver path over the Baltic, a ribbon of light stretching endlessly across the sea. The hush of waves drifts faintly through the open pane, steady and soft. The motif has reached its gentlest form, no longer a sound to follow, but a rhythm that has already become your own. Each inhale is a tide flowing inward. Each exhale is the tide returning home. You are no longer listening to the waves. You are breathing with them, part of their eternal rhythm. You lie still beneath the quilt, your body warm and heavy, your thoughts dissolving one by one into the soft current of night. Every muscle has yielded now, every corner of your mind has unclenched. There is nothing left to hold, nothing left to do, only to drift deeper and deeper still. The scent of lavender lingers in the rafters, mingling with salt air. The faint warmth of candle wax fills the room like a memory. All around you, silence holds steady, broken only by the sea's quiet lull. It is a cradle vast enough for the whole world, and you are resting within it, safe and remembered. Your eyes grow heavier, lids sinking until the silver shimmer of moonlight softens into blur. You listen once more, hush, sigh, retreat, and know the sea will continue even as you dream. The motif has carried you from shore to village, from music to dune, from hut to inn, and now at last into sleep. It has become not only rhythm, but belonging, not only sound, but peace. Nightfall travels has brought you here, to Denmark's tranquil shores where the sea keeps watch and the night enfolds you. The journey has closed its circle, and now it offers you rest deep and whole. If you enjoyed this journey, you're welcome to join me again whenever you wish. There are many more stories waiting for you, ready to guide you into restful dreams.